Welcome back to Client Side Chats. We're into the part two here discussion with Scott Shackelford and with Ron Gantt. We've been talking about safety success and how do you really define that? And I know in the first installation of this, we were actually talking about the sense of value, the contribution that you're making. And Scott was doing a great job of using a kind of an example of some of those things we do in our personal life and how do we capture that in with our organizations. One of the things, as you were saying, Scott, with regard to, we do dishes, we do all those different kinds of things around the house, and we're kind of feeling like we're contributing in that area. Certainly that's measurable. One of the areas that I always like to talk about with safety professionals when they're looking at their safety management systems is things along the lines of community. Are we giving people a sense of community? And a lot of times that word is always thought of as outside of the entity, when in fact, we actually have a social structure within the entity itself. See, whether we're here together physically or doing the social distancing stuff now, that sense of community is formed by and shaped by that sense of contribution. At least I would state that out there, and that's open obviously for debate and discussion and all those things. But that is a measurable component. And the example I give on this, and I'll let you guys get back into this, is many times when working with employers over the years, people who are business owners, they will always tell you, I know it's a success because, I'm seeing people do this behavior or that result or anything like this. But many times what I get is, I know it's a success because I can feel it. I know what I'm doing is a feeling and a sense that this is successful because I can feel it from the energy from all my employees as to how things are working. And so therefore, I would say that that is actually a sense of community in its way. And it's a sense of I'm feeling the contribution. So Scott, not taking away from where you were going with this, what are your thoughts with regard to that direction of success and defining it from a safety standpoint?
Really good question, James. And certainly, yeah, there's nothing to take away. I think it's a dynamic model that we're really trying to articulate here. And like many successful systems, a modular fashion, if you will. So one layer upon the next. But one of the things that I have recognized, at least with our organization, is the sense of community and one of our founding principles of everybody matters, we say internally, right? It's kind of the buzzword. Everybody matters. So of course, there's an equal distribution of opinions and we're in this together. The social distancing aspect, remote working has, really cut that in half, right? We've just been, it's been hard to keep the momentum and feeling of that alive because quite frankly, we're just not together in the way that we are familiar with. And so being able to come together as a community, particularly virtually, has really been straining on a lot of individuals. And I have seen a few bow out at times because it just seems to be overexhausting to sort of almost make a faux win, hey, I'm really excited, but my keyboard won't let me type my excitement fast enough. And so what I do appreciate is those that kind of bow out is they don't want to fake it, right? They're like, you know what? I don't want to pretend like we're celebrating here, even though I know there's something good. I'll just wait until we can come back together. And certainly for those frontline workers that are able to participate face to face, I think it's more important than ever that whether it's toolbox talks, it's regularly scheduled safety meetings, just all hands, whatever we're getting together, that we continue to share those micro success stories so we don't lose that momentum and we can really understand that our worth, it is an opportunity to express our worth, but let others absorb that as well so that we can continue to support each other.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. If I may jump in, I think the whole the community aspect and something you also said, Scott, about the organization being dynamic, right? And if you think at the root of the word organization is organism, right? It's we're talking about a living, breathing thing, right? An organization is not a building, right? It's right. It's a social system. It's living, it's breathing, and to me, if we define safety success as the building of community, that means that this is something that we should be actively managing as safety managers. We should be identifying when our community is breaking down, like in these moments, like you were talking about, Scott, with social distancing, how is that going? How is that affecting the community and the relations people have? And, you know, this sounds like hippy dippy stuff, but at the end of the day, how many times are, you know, hazards identified because of a conversation that people have while passing each other through the plant? How many
Right.
times are, you know, hey, just want to remind you, make sure you get ventilation at this place instead of that place because last time we forgot. You know, these lessons learned that are shared just because we happen to talk to each other because we always talk to each other. You know what I mean? Like this
Right.
is stuff that is actually happening in real time that is often not captured or even identified, you know, as a safety management control. But to me, it's part of our control system is making sure that, you know, we have the fertile ground for that community to develop. I think I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Ron. Well said. And I think that just got my gears grinding up there around the way we interact, right? And the way that we build off each other. Like most systems, whether that's within an organization or in a political atmosphere, the informal sector is where a lot of this lives and breathes, not the formal, constructive, you're going to have a meeting at 10 and you're going to show up with a great attitude and we're going to share. You know, it's like
That's a good advertisement though.
That usually, yeah, I mean, we show up and I'll be there and I'll have something prescriptive to share, but the informal, that whether you call it, you know, the coffee pot talk or passing each other in the hallway, I mean, so much opportunity for bouncing ideas off each other. Like you gave two great suggestions on, hey, don't forget, it just popped into my head. And how many times have we plugged a gap or proactively address something because of those informal moments to share? And I really think that's where we spend the majority of our time. And that has been dire, to say the least, you know, due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And finding workarounds around that is, it's been tough, to say the least.
I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I say we could really talk about this all day long. We could probably even come up with a good working session between all three of us to really give some good value to safety professionals out there. I think about all the different tools and all the technical knowledge that we bring to the table, the value that brings to our organizations, and all those things of that we would also foster a success, and that the real work goes on exactly the way the two of you have described. That's where the success really does find itself, as opposed to all the formal things that we do. I'm not knocking those formal things at all. It's just that all those things, the inspections, the meetings, the education timetables, the learning from mistakes that result in injuries and those kinds of things, and really, you know, applying it to the organism really makes a big difference. So you like that, Ron? I'm using the term organism as opposed to an organization. So I picked up on that.
Well done.
Thanks. Ron taught me well. So anyway, so gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on these client-side chats. I really appreciate it. Would love to do this again with both of you at the same time. I think this is very good. And I appreciate it. I know the two of you actually made a suggestion that we do two people at one time as opposed to one. So I greatly appreciate that too. So thank you for joining me today. And I'm sure the audience is definitely going to like that. So, okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Pleasure.
Take care. Talk to you soon. Okay. Bye.
Bye.